Does anyone else like a new community update for Dune? Well, that's what we've got. Community update number 4 for Dune Spice Wars is out. Now, this is one of the smaller of the community updates. These tend to be pretty major patches. This one's not too major. Some balance updates, some changes for things. So we'll walk through it. We'll see what it does. It's not gonna upend our lives or necessarily revitalize our dwindling community here. But there's some interesting stuff. So let's look through it. Dune Spice Wars Community Update number 4. New conquests. If you like single player, you can now play Smuggler and Fremen in the conquest mode. That's kind of cool. I know people always wanted to play Fremen, but they weren't a playable faction in that single player mode before. This is pretty cool. New map types. 6 new map types available for single and multiplayer maps, allowing unique challenges and strategic possibilities. So you can do the standard small, medium, and large like we used to be able to do. But just about every game, I think, was played on medium standard maps. Every game that I've ever played. But now we have the Great Flat, which is a vast expanse with extensive deep desert and bases far from each other, emphasizing the importance of mobility in water. We've got the Populous Basin, another large map featuring many small regions, ideal for building strong defensive clusters of villages. That sounds like a nightmare. Here main bases are placed close to each other near the center, allowing outward expansion. We've also got the Great Erg, which is filled with many smaller deep deserts and mountain regions, creating bottlenecks. We've got the Desert Ridge for 2v2 play, and the Sandy Valley, which is a rectangular map centered around a valley well suited for 2v2 or free-for-all matches. Really cool. I've jumped in and taken a couple look at these, and they're pretty wildly different, right? You know, if you're not playing the standard one, you don't have that center polar sink region necessarily. And it's just kind of fun to have different maps to work with. They're pretty wild. I've seen some crazy map gens come out of them. Canley mode, that's like the 1v1. No one really played Canley too much. There's some extra statistics for conquest. That's great. Some conquest balancing. That's not our thing. Here we go. Some general balancing and the common balancing. Insider trading. So this is a tier 4 blue development. Gives 2 influence now instead of 1 per share sold, and removes the selling cooldown and the maximum influence during the Landsraad Council. I have no idea what the long-term ramifications of this might be. So in theory, this means after and I haven't tested it, but in theory, after the Landsraad Council has opened, if you have this T4 blue tech, you can sell as many Chom shares as you want, and for every share you sell, you'll get 2 influence. So you can suddenly boom influence above your max during the council. That's pretty crazy. In theory, this could allow some really surprise political play. I mean, most people don't like selling Chom shares, but it might allow for something interesting. You might be able to jump way ahead of people when they don't expect it. I wonder, can other people see like your influence boom in real time, right? If we get to the Landsraad and I sell 100 shares to get plus 200 influence, does everyone else immediately see that I have plus 200 influence, or do I get to like spend it in secret? I don't know. It's kind of a cool idea. I don't know how viable it'll be for actual things, but it's sort of a fun little niche there. It's now possible to steal a nuclear warhead by annexing a village where the silo was built. I've never seen it happen, but I love that. 30% Chom bonus now gives an extra 100 to your max influence. Cool. Chom's even better. Landsraad support, this one's fun. Landsraad punishers were the ones they used to give you to blow up enemy bases, but they only ever gave you 2, so it didn't really move the needle on base killing. But 5 just might. If I got 5 Landsraad punishers, I would absolutely be looking around at how I could make them shoot a base, because that seems pretty cool. These are rocket launcher dudes that do like extra 100% damage against main bases, something like that. 5 of them's pretty cool. That's 150% buff to that resolution. That's pretty cool. I like that. Space and Guild Resources gives plus 20. So now it used to give plus 20 armor. Now it's just plus 10 armor to main bases. I never really saw this as impactful. If you had plus 20 armor or if you had plus 10 armor, your main base is functionally invulnerable for that resolution. That's a lot of armor. Atreides, we got some Atreides nerfs. Rangers lose an armor and 1 power. Heavy weapon squads lose an armor. Gurney now gives attack speed to range units instead of armor, and Gurney does not reduce the attack speed of his target anymore. those are probably all good buffs. The Atreides, were famous for having incredibly tanky ranged units. You could just stack a lot of armor on your rangers, and then they do good DPS, and they're really hard to kill. They're still going to be good. These are all pretty reasonable nerfs. I think it's weird that they're like ever so slightly tuning Gurney, but like Duncan Idaho is in the shadows. No one's ever used him because he's terrible, and he never receives any buffs. I wish we'd get a Duncan Idaho buff. Harkonnen. Eachan Nefud rework. When he reaches 0 health, he now steals the health of any ally unit at short range instead of dying. I love that. Very cool. Any unit death at short range gives him 1 power and extra armor. That's also very cool. So he's just like a super powered executioner. Cannon fodder skill. Level 1 ally units at short range become cannon fodder and suffer the following effects. Lose 10% of their health every day. That's pretty bad. Cannot regenerate health or gain experience. That's not good. No upkeep and no command point requirements. That's insane. And half of the unit cost is refunded upon death. So, if you have level 1 units standing next to Nefud, they suddenly don't cost command points, have no upkeep, but they're going to be dead in 10 days and they can never heal. But if they die, they'll give you a little bit of a refund. Wow. So Harkonnens with this could go over their maximum CP cap and field a huge army to do some shenanigans or something. That seems really cool. I want to play with that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Nefud, big buffs for him. That's really neat. Smugglers. Hidden explosives no longer reduce main base armor. Instead, it makes it unable to attack a day. This is a really powerful nerf. Hidden explosives was mandatory for base killing because reducing armor is so huge. Making it unable to attack for a day is negligible to me. I would never, ever use hidden explosives again. I think it's nerfed to oblivion. Bounty resolution modified from getting 20 to 10 Solari per vote placed on a resolution. I think that's a good thing. It was too good for other people before with the 20. Maybe it's a little more reasonable. It only pays out 10, but still incentivizes people to vote the way you want. We'll see. I would have liked to see more of a rework to it, but that's okay. Lashan Hara gives an infiltration level in a faction every time a trade deal takes place, and she produces now 15 Solari and 2 influence per infiltration level in another faction. That's a big buff for Lashan there. That might be good. Just making any sort of trades you could get to get information levels, and then suddenly they pay out big money and big influence. Wow. Smugglers could have more influence than ever. It's pretty wild. Staban no longer gives any Solari. Oh, okay, a little nerf for Staban. Fremen, worm speed boosted by quite a bit. Almost, ooh, what is that? Plus 10? 66% boost to worm speed? That's pretty nice. They're going to be very speedy. Jamis can now trade 10 authority for 30 manpower. Oh, that's a great boost. It used to be 10 for 10, now it's 10 for 30. So if you got the authority, you can buy a bunch of manpower super quick. Authority to manpower is a terrible deal in general, but 30 is way better than 10, so it's a big boost. Could be usable in a niche situation. Uryalan, yet another Uryalan rework. Every building can be constructed one more time anywhere on the map. So the old version of this was you could double build buildings and things that were adjacent to your main base, right? So now you can double build each building in the game once, which honestly I think is a bit of a buff to the ability for me. So what I would always find was there'd be stuff you really want, like a rare region like the Well of Riches or something, just like one step away from your main base, and it's not practical to drop another main base on it, but you can't utilize the double building on it. Well, now you can. Now you can maximize every sort of rare region that gives you 100% more of a particular type of resource. You could build 2 of the buildings there. I like it. I think that's a buff for me. I think it feels better. Feels better. Ecaz can now break truces, woo, with 100% penalty of standing loss and no damage bonus. Boo. I guess it allows them to contest an end game Atreides push, but 100% penalty and standing loss is pretty bad. Breaking a truce is already what is it? Maybe it's like 150 or 200 standing loss to break a truce or something like that. So now it'd be like 300 or 400. You basically give up all of your lands red standing, but you can break a truce if you really wanted to. Weird. Perfected units now cost 50% more, but take 50% less time to recruit. And they now cost 100% more to heal. I don't love this. I don't feel like the Ecaz are particularly strong at the moment, and I don't think this really helps at all. I don't know why they won't just give us 2 more recruitment slots so that they have 6 recruitment slots like everybody else. This isn't gonna... ignore those ding. This isn't gonna move the needle for me. I guess you could get perfect units a little bit faster, but maybe not even if they cost 100% more manpower. You're gonna be like super manpower constrained if you try to build these guys. That's kind of crazy. Whitmore's skill consumes champion trophies every 4 seconds now. It's weird. No one in the history of the world has ever used Whitmore's skill because you want to keep your champion trophies because they give you hegemony. His skill uses up your trophies to give him a big buff, but the whole point of having champions is to stack trophies on them, not to spend them. It's weird. It needs to be reworked. Can no longer build a garden in a region where hostile units are present. That's funny. I don't think I've ever done that, but in theory, if someone was about to take your territory, you could turn it into a garden, and then when they take it, they get a sudden debuff from attacking a garden. Building a garden also interrupts a unit that had an order to attack it. Okay, so yeah, they're trying to get rid of some weird gardening cheese. I don't like this. I would have liked to see some better Ecaz buffs. Ecaz is a little on the weak side at the moment. Vernius, automated defense, neural node attack speed of 10 down to 6. I think that's a nerf. I think attack speed is like attacks over 10 seconds or something. So it used to be like 1 attack per second, and now it'll be 6 attacks per 10 seconds, something like that. So I think that's a debuff to the attack speed, which is fine. They were really good before. Nuwa and fight engineers no longer leave repair mode when all drones are repaired. Good. And Kater's rework, it's Kater, you know, the agent that no one ever saw because everyone plays Nuwa 100% of the time. Kater, Siter, +1 gear slot on every unit, but using that slot increases the fuel requirements of that unit by 1 fuel cell. That's not ideal. It's kind of interesting. I don't know that there's any like 3rd gear slots that I'm chomping at the bit to fill up. Ally non-mechanical units at short range are stealthy. Non-mechanical units. So really your suboids and your fight engineers? Who cares if those are stealthy? Okay. He himself is stealthy and evasion skill. So if you use his skill, his next attack will execute and it will remove him from combat. So stealths him and gives him an execute kill. I don't know, it might be fun to play with, but it's a lot nicer just to have an extra giant super engineer repairing all your guys with Nuwa. Bug fixes, yada yada yada. Nothing too exciting for me in the bug fix front. And boom, that's it. Community patch notes number 4. No big shakeups here, right? You know, we didn't get a whole rework of air or a new faction or anything like that. We got some very minor stuff. I think the coolest things we got are these new map types, which might be a lot of fun to play with. I gotta imagine some of these are going to be wildly unbalanced for certain factions, for certain win conditions, but could still be fun. Could still be fun. Yeah. Let's give them a run. Let's pick ourselves a weird skirmish map and go play. All right, that's it. That's our community patch notes number 4. A little analysis for you guys. We're gonna try and get some games out soon on some of these new maps so we could see what they're like and get a little more Dune back into your diet for you. Some sand's good for you. Some fiber, some roughage helps the digestion. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you next time, probably with a skirmish game in the Great Flat, the Populous Basin, the Great Erg. We shall see. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.